God. Going too fast. I'm taking 3.
I'm going for the St. Louis now.
Oh, no.
Son of a bitch.
You get your 2?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and today we are taking a look at a battle in the Kutuzov. Now, this battle is going to be the highest earning damage battle that I've ever had. I think the other one we did have on the channel as well, and we're at like 203,000. We are going to blow that out of the water today in this battle. Also, if you're wondering why is the video out so early today, well, there was a crazy ice storm in my area, still happening right now apparently, and work has been, well, it's not necessarily cancelled. It's early in the morning right now as I'm recording this. I might have to go in later today, but for right now, I don't. So hooray! So I figured, what the hell, let's go ahead and get this video out. Figure I'd do it now as opposed to later tonight, because later tonight, you know, something could come up and maybe I don't get it out, and I really want to get this out. It's pretty good. Anyway, in the Kutuzov on shards. So the reason why I'm playing the Kutuzov is just simply, I had just researched the range increase for the Izumo, and I didn't have enough money to purchase it. So I figured, oh, we'll take the Kutuzov out, because, you know, tier 8 premium, going to make a bunch of money here, just to see what's going on. Now, I was a little concerned and confused over shards. I do like this map. It's just, I never really played it on the Kutuzov before, and based on, well, maybe I have, but it was really more, I guess, based on where I spawned. I'm up here, and I wasn't really sure if I should actually be going into this point. You can see I'm looking at B because I'm actually more interested in B. B is a very important point on all of the domination map modes. B is generally the pivotal point on the map. Now, that being said, right, different situations, there always exist where sometimes you don't need B. Sometimes it's enough just to have A and C, for example. There are other maps as well where B actually isn't that advantageous to take, especially not right at the beginning. You might find yourself in a bit of a trap. But anyway, we do have an enemy destroyer there off in the distance. We're going to throw some shots down range, maybe hit the player, who knows. At the same time of all this, I'm also trying to get some steering gears incapacitations. I just need 2 more of those, and then I can move on to the final stage of the Honorable Service campaign. Anyway, one of my allies here, Allied Destroyer, is nice enough to lay down some smoke to get myself and my allied Cleveland into the cap point. So this is good. Very, very good indeed. We do see some enemies off in the distance, right? We're putting some shots down range. We got the Prince Eugen. I saw North Carolina. We've got a lot more popping up. And it was at this point where I was like, well, Thotgor, you know, maybe it wasn't a good idea to come into the point. Like, you know, you always talk about how cruisers should not go into the point right away. They just shouldn't be the first ones to be spotted, because they will not last very long. And look what I do. Look what I'm doing here. I mean, this smoke is going to last forever. I'm taking a look, trying to plan my escape strategy here, and I see that the my Allied Destroyer is just outside the point and just outside the smoke. Now, Kutuzov, I do have smoke, so if worse comes to worse, I can just simply pop my smoke, continue to stay where I am, or pop my smoke and leave the cap zone, right? Those I figured were my options. Now I'm still playing around with them. I'm trying to be careful with the usage of the smoke. You really do want to think about every time you use your smoke. Especially, well, I mean, I was going to say especially on a cruiser, but it really doesn't matter. Regardless of what ship you're in, I mean, if it's a British cruiser, if it's a Kutuzov, if it's a destroyer, right? You have to really think about that smoke. Do you really want to use it? Now, in my case, I ground myself, yes. My big attempt at getting out of this point without dying ends miserably. Ground myself, so luckily, though, I do have the smoke, so I pop my smoke, and I'm going to get myself out of this whole situation. Now, while all of this is going on, you know, I'm flinging shots down range, and I'm setting people on fire. This is what I'm attempting to do, and I'm trying to keep people on fire, because I really want to start racking up some fire damage. It's always nice to get a nice witherer. I use those flags a lot, as well as an arsonist flag. That would be good to have as well. Oh, excuse me. Anyway, Anyway, we do have the North Carolina turning, and I'm making my move to get out of the point. I believe the North Carolina has already fired his main guns, and so I'm just trying to get out, and hopefully no one is going to fire at me and take me down to even less health, because I did take a bit of damage in there. Now we have some enemy aircraft coming in. I do believe, let's take a look at the silhouettes. No, that's a Lexington. I was going to say, I do believe these are tier 6 aircraft, but no, they are definitely tier 8. But, you know, Kutuzov has amazing anti-air capability. Just amazing. So, if you want to send your planes overhead, fine, go right ahead, but you should expect them all to die, because they're not going to last very long, especially if I were to pop my defensive fire ability. It's over. And I think on my Kutuzov, it's AA spec. I have it AA spec. The only yeah, no, it's AA spec. I didn't go with like the discrete or decrease to dispersion and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure it's all complementary to my AA guns, and that's the way I wanted to have it, because this Kutuzov I really use on a competitive level when those things are taking place, and to have superior anti-air is incredibly important in those arenas, because there's smaller teams. You have an aircraft carrier. That aircraft carrier is incredibly menacing. We don't see them very often in game anymore, but on a competitive level, it's not that they're required, but it's, if you go into battle and the enemy team has an aircraft carrier and your team doesn't, you're pretty much at a disadvantage right away, and it's going to take a lot to get that back. But anyway, getting back into the battle, you can see that we do now have the A and the C cap zones, right? Fighting it out over B, we still do have some resistance up here at A. In fact, a lot of enemy ships are up here at A, and is it A? The northern point's probably C. A lot of enemies are up here at this point, and we do want to slowly get ourselves into B to start capping that, because B is going to be important, because if we take B, then we can let the enemies have the C cap zone in the north, and we can just simply take the A in the south and still maintain a cap advantage. So this is what we're going to attempt to do, or at least what I'm hoping we're going to attempt to do. But in the meantime, I am going to continue to put fire down range and hopefully keep these players on fire. I've managed to keep a few battleships on fire for, a bit of time. I still have that Bismarck over there on fire, sitting on about 90,000 damage right now, which isn't too bad. It's almost all of that is fire damage. And you can see I get myself a witherer right there, so I think that's 60,000 damage in fire or flooding to get the witherer. So we went ahead and we did get that, so this is good, but we do still have a whole bunch of enemies here behind us that we do need to deal with, and we're going to try and get something done here anyway. You can see a lot of enemy battleships still. I mean, all these battleships are in reverse, and, well, not all of them, but fairly easy targets is what these battleships are presenting, and it's really, these battleships that are making this, they're going to make the game for me. I'm not going to say it's their incompetence, because that's too easy. I mean, maybe it was just a bad game for them, or their first game, or who knows, right? Maybe something was off on their end, but I get incredibly lucky here with these battleships in being able to keep them on fire continuously and have multiple ships on fire. I've got the Prince Eugen on fire right now, and I do still have that enemy Bismarck on fire behind us. So, I mean, I've got at least 2 ships on fire right now, which is very, very good. You can see my damage numbers are climbing. We get another fire set to the old Prince Eugen right on the bow there, and we can see the Prince Eugen's returning fire with his HE. Huge mistake. Your Hipper and your Prince Eugen, well, German cruisers in general, have amazing armor piercing. If you are fighting a cruiser or even a battleship at close range, like, the Prince Eugen and myself are doing now, you want to be firing armor piercing. Armor piercing will rip through rip through your cruisers and your battleships. It is amazing. My Admiral Hipper, at I think 10-kilometer range, if you can get into 10-kilometer range, can citadel a Montana very, very easily, as long as the Montana's broadside to me. Yeah, It's going down. So do keep this in mind when you're playing these cruisers, right? It's all about switching up your ammo types, especially when you are in a cruiser that offers good armor-piercing values like the Admiral Hipper or the Prince Eugen. Cruisers have great reload, so use it. Go ahead and switch your ammo types. Now, we're not going to see me switch ammo types in this game. God, no. We're going to stick with the high explosive, but it's because it's a Russian cruiser, and, the guns we have on her, they just lend themselves to the high explosive, and we're having some pretty good results. We can see shores over there harassing my my allied aircraft carrier, and I was on the fence as to whether or not I was actually going to help the allied aircraft carrier. Good thing I did, because this player does come and save me later on in the battle. So we're going to turn and we're going to start engaging the shores. I was actually quite convinced that my allied aircraft carrier would be able to take out the shores without any issue at all, but it does not looking good. So yeah, we're going to turn and we're going to do something. Plus, I didn't want to have anyone rage out at me and chat about how I was right next to the aircraft carrier and didn't save it. So, alright, we're going to do something about the shores. This would actually be a good opportunity for armor piercing with the Kutuzov here. But, my shots go into the shores, do a bunch of damage. We can see my allied aircraft carrier gets a nice dive bomb there as well. We've got some final shots going in, and the enemy shores is gone. Perfect. Managed to save our allied aircraft carrier. Phenomenal. Now, we do have a few allies who are dying, which isn't so great, but we do still maintain quite a lead in overall points. Now, the enemies, in the meantime, have gone ahead and they've capped that northern sea point. They're in the process of taking the B cap zone, so we need to do something about this. We can see that I just managed to set some fires to an enemy player who was in the B cap zone, managed to reset the cap as well. We're eyeing down this enemy Bismarck once again. Just hoping to get some more fire set and then maybe move on to another enemy here. So we get some fire set to the Bismarck. We get ourselves a nice Confederate medal, which is not too bad at all. What is that, 152,000 damage now? So we're getting there, we're just sort of cruising around, and I'm taking a look at the minimap now. My team is kind of split in two, right? We see that we do have the allies up there at the C point, and then I do also have an ally down here at the A point, and I'm trying to figure out where do I want to go to group up. There's my nice high caliber for me as well, so that's pretty fantastic. But I wasn't sure what to do. So I decided I'm going to pop my smoke, I'm going to come to a stop, and I am just going to continue to berate these enemy battleships. I'm going to keep them on fire for as long as I possibly can, so at the very least, when they do encounter my allies should be able to take them down with one or two more hits, if I don't finish them off entirely. So we see the enemy North Carolina. This enemy North Carolina, you can tell, was not happy with what I was dishing out. The player, does eventually start taking, I think it's this player, it starts taking pot shots off at me in the smoke, even though there were allies right in front of the player. He just, no, he wants me dead, but it's not going to happen. Not gonna happen, friend. Anyway, we continue to put more shots into the enemy North Carolina. Enemy North Carolina is burning down and may just get finished off here by the fires that we have set. Now we can see the fires are out, so we know the player has used repair. We can see the fires I just set have also gone out, so the repair isn't quite done yet. But any preceding fires I put into this player should now stick for the duration. And there we go. We see the shots coming into the smoke. Yeah, he's just guessing. He's not going to hit me. Player freaks out a little and does manage to ground himself, which is perfect. This is exactly what I need. Because if I can set the player on fire, and if my fire kills the player, I'm pretty sure that I have done enough damage to this North Carolina that is going to count as an arsonist. So that is exactly what I'm hoping to get accomplished here. Managed to get one fire set to the enemy North Carolina, and in the meantime I'm going to start closing the distance in here on the B cap zone. A lot of the enemies seem to have moved up to the north, and B seems to be relatively open, so I'm going to attempt to take advantage of this situation. Now we see the Tirpitz over there off in the distance taking shots off at me, so kind of concerned about that. We see the enemy North Carolina on very little health indeed, so we may just be able to take the player down, get ourselves a nice arsonist, set another fire there as well. There we go. Player's down and our arsonist. Now, we see the enemy Fuso. I was very concerned about this enemy Fuso. So shots come in. do a bit of damage, but it could have been a whole lot worse. So we just continue to fire into the Fuso. I'm going to turn broadside into the Fuso because I'm attempting to get my port side torpedoes off at the player. We can see, though, the player is basically almost dead. So we just need to put a few more shots into him, and then he's gone. There we go. Fuso's gone. Fantastic. Perfect. 3 Allied ships remaining. There's myself, the Allied aircraft carrier that I saved, and then we do have another Allied cruiser versus the 4 enemy ships remaining. So, need to start playing careful here. Now, we do have quite a lead in points, and my last remaining Allied cruiser is capping that B zone, which is good, but I do have a bit of an issue here in terms of this Tirpitz. Now, I am actually quite terrified of this Tirpitz. I don't have very many hit points remaining. You know, I'm in a cruiser in the Kutuzov here, and this Tirpitz could fire at me and hit me from any angle, get a citadel, and kill me. So I have to be very careful. And you can see I was kind of looking around with some other ships to see, well, you know, the Tirpitz isn't firing at me, but do I want to start firing at the Tirpitz? And the answer is yes. I need to get the Tirpitz on fire as quickly as I possibly can to get this player gone. You can see that the Tirpitz has quite a bit of health remaining. Remember I said I saved the aircraft carrier, and in turn the aircraft carrier saves me later on in the battle? Yeah, that's what happened right there. With those few torpedo hits that Allied carrier did, and the dive bombers that have gone in, the Tirpitz turns away from me, which is perfect, gives me a nice broadside, and opens up the opportunity for me to just start pumping the HE into the player and get this player on fire and keep the player on fire. Now, at the same time, I do need to be very much aware of enemy planes. You can see them coming in and melting because of the amazing AA of the Kutuzov and my defensive fire there. But also, I forget my whole train of thought there. Oh well, whatever. Planes are getting destroyed. This is good. Enemy Tirpitz is still on fire, which is fantastic. We're going to try and keep the player on fire. I'm over 200,000 damage now, sitting on about 212,000. But I'm looking around and I'm not feeling very confident about our chances of success. My team still does lead in overall points, but we only have 2 ships remaining. There's the Allied aircraft carrier, which is good, and then there's myself, and I don't have that many hit points. I do still have 1 smoke charge left, which I'm, you know, aware of, but I'm going to hold on to because this could be, you know, the difference between life or death later on. So we do want to pay attention to this. 220,000 damage now with another fire set to the old Tirpitz, and you know, I've just, with the damage numbers we're sitting at now, it just blew away my old record, like I said, of about 203,000 damage in a single battle. So we're working on setting a new record, new personal best for Thotgor here. The Tirpitz is almost dead. Very little hit points remaining. You can see the hero that is my aircraft carrier comes in once again with some more planes, torpedo planes, dive bombers, a Shuikaku. Very, very thankful for that player, and I'm so glad, so glad that I saved the aircraft carrier, because there we go. CV just took down the Tirpitz. I don't have to deal with that Tirpitz anymore, and I congratulate the CV as well, because, yeah, good job there, friend. So we're going to move into the A cap zone. It's the only cap zone we have remaining. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get myself into a nice sneaky position where I can fire out at the enemies, continue to set fires and burn them down, but at the same time be relatively covered. I didn't want to take too many chances, right? It's not a good time to take chances here. So we see another enemy battleship there off in the distance. The enemies only have the 3 ships remaining, but we're pretty close on points. And if we look at the clock, there isn't that much time left, about well, a little under minute 30 remaining, so things could go pretty good. We did just manage to set the Bismarck on fire, which is excellent. I'm turning in, but you can see the conversation in the chat, right? It's actually pretty cordial, the whole match, but right now, and I'm reading it, and I'm looking around, I'm assessing the situation, I'm thinking, well, it's pretty defeatist conversation there, and the tone I found just sounded like, well, you know, we gave it our all. At the very least, this was a great game, that sort of thing. And that's sort of what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, I'll just charge into A, see what I can do to the Tirpitz, or to the Bismarck. Bismarck will probably kill me, but whatever. And then as I'm getting closer, I'm looking at the points, looking at the time, thinking to myself, whoa there, Thotgor, so I immediately bring my ship to a stop. Gonna bring her to a stop. We're going to pop our last bit of smoke as soon as the Bismarck spots us. There's the Bismarck. We pop our smoke. Bismarck is gone. Need to be aware, though, the Bismarck does have acoustic sonar, so I need to reverse out of this situation, which is what what I have my ship in the process of doing. But just remember, you know, Bismarck does have acoustic sonar, so if the Bismarck gets close to you and your smoke, your smoke's not going to do anything. But anyway, Bismarck comes in. Only a few seconds remaining, and it looks like we may pull victory off. There we go. Time is up. Victory is ours. Oh, and you all heard, that was my phone. Let me just double check on work. Ho ho ho. Live. I tell you, continue with the road conditions, please. Hooray! No work today. It is a snow day. Alright, so 820,000 credits earned. We got the Confederate, Arsonist, Witherer, High Caliber, 241,000 damage dealt. Like I say, this was my highest damage battle ever. I've never done that much damage before. I was ecstatic, and well over 2,000 base experience, which is also very good. We can see how some of the damage is broken down here. I didn't actually get a chance to look at the fire damage, but it was significant. I can assure you of that. 682,000 credits is what I do end up walking away with. 9,700 experience. I would have liked to see that experience had it been a ×3, because I played this battle just the other night. Anyway, folks. Anyway, I do hope you guys did enjoy the match today. I am very happy as well that I don't have to go to work. It is a snow day today. Fantastic. And as always, leave any comments you have for me in the video comments section below. Love reading those and responding back to them. Hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Hit subscribe if you are not a subscriber. And of course, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.